Mark is so excited to be here in Vegas with you to talk about your real estate journey and also your property management. So just to get started, I know that you yourself have been using Hemlane for how many years now?
About 4 years now. Yeah.
Okay, great. And so just tell me a little bit more about your path with owning rental properties, purchasing rental properties, being able to retire and get passive income or part retire to get passive income off of your rental properties and how that Hemlane process has been for you.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm glad to be here with second time in a row or second year in a row at the ORAD event. But yeah, so I full-time firefighter. I have the pension all set up for my retirement. Some things happened in life. 2019, the world kind of shut down. Things were crazy. So I really started looking at generating multiple streams of income. So I kind of went down the real estate path and I started investing in Pittsburgh. So I do live in Hawaii. So it's a very expensive market. So I started investing remotely, and I went down the traditional path of property management company, and but then I also started getting concerned about what if my property manager was to leave, or they were doing fix and flips on the side. So I also want to make sure that I had systems in place where I could do some self-managing if something was to happen. So that's why I started researching different platforms, and then I came across Hemlane, also through Zuber's recommendation and his channel talking about what you folks offer. So I also looked into Hemlane and I gave it a shot, and I've been happy ever since.
Fantastic. What are, and I love that. So thank you. I think property management, as you said, when you're going through various different options, what I love is like you can still get a local licensed agent or a property manager through our platform, like someone to help you on the ground as well. But you do have that full control. You see every single repair bill, you see every single interaction and communication in the system. Rent goes directly to you. Tell me about some of the things that you love about Hemlane. What are a couple of the features that have been a delight?
So I think the biggest thing for me was Hemlane really opened my eyes to really understanding my properties a lot better. So
Okay.
so I've never been in Pittsburgh yet, so I haven't stepped foot there, so I haven't seen my properties. So a lot of it was photos or what the property manager or the agent was telling me.
Hmm.
But now that I'm actually maybe communicating with the tenants directly, or even the maintenance requests and dealing with contractors or handymen, I'm actually getting maybe a little better understanding of what my property looks like in a sense. Even though I saw pictures of them, I'm getting a little better breakdown of what maybe possible problems I'll have in the future. So it's giving me just a better understanding of what my property looks like. So I'd like the tenant communication side and just getting somewhat of a hands-on feel of it, but not really getting a hands-on feel. But it's just super. The customer support has been amazing.
That's great. Yeah, I think I'm glad you brought up customer support because the tenants get the same number that you get, and that is the reason for that is your customer is the tenant, and so we want to think of them as if your customer is happy, then you're going to be happy, which means we're happy and everyone is happy. And then I love what you brought up about just knowing your property and your tenant. I think over time you get more comfortable with your properties. I mean, you purchased what, 4 years ago? And
Yes.
wasn't it like how you purchased within, remember it was like 6 to 12 months, an insane number of rental units for
Yeah.
your
So
first time doing it,
yeah. So
right?
that could be another story or episode, but that's kind of my claim to fame. Is I kind of went all in, and
Yeah.
I got 14 properties in probably about a year's time, and a lot of learning.
Yeah.
But definitely, I'm glad I did it. But yeah, so like I was saying, I think I didn't know my properties as well, because a lot of it was just photos and with the agent. But self managing somewhat just gives you a better understanding of that.
Yeah, and over time you can build that up. So like the maintenance and repair instructions and stuff like that, you build it up and then you really have a risk mitigated solution to property management, right? Because you know everything. It's all documented in one system. Walk me through, because you had purchased so many properties. We have a service that we launched, it was about a year and a half to almost 2 years ago. It's called Eviction Shield. It used to be called Rent Defense. We changed the name to Eviction Shield. Walk me through how that has been helpful for you.
Yeah, so that just really saves a lot of the headaches of actually having to, I guess, follow up with the tenant. So
Hmm.
let's say they're late on their rent payments. The eviction shield will kind of follow up for you, kind
Hmm.
of reach out to the tenant, communicate, let them know that they are late on their payment. Kind of try to get some communication started with the tenant to see if they are going to pay, if they're facing any difficulties, if there's any resources that they need. So it kind of takes something off of your plate until you really need to step in. So the eviction shield continuously communicates with you, letting you know, okay, we reached out on this date. Your tenant hasn't replied back yet, but this is what we sent them. And then if the tenant does reply, the eviction shield sends you a notice saying, okay, this is the response that we got. Do you want to move forward in this direction? Or do you want to move forward in this direction or whatnot? So it just kind of takes a lot off your plate until you really need to step in and make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. One of the reasons that we brought Eviction Shield and launched it was that if you are yourself the real estate investor and the rental owner or the manager, and you go to the tenant and say, "You're late on rent. When are you going to pay me?" It's a much different conversation than a mediator calling and saying, "Hey, I'm a mediator here with the Hemlane team. I just noticed you're late on rent. How can I help?" And when it's a third party that does it, we found the conversation is a lot different. We learn more. Did they lose their job? Did they just forget to pay? Do they have something else going on that would be short term and they will be able to pay it, but it's a matter of a payment plan? Or do we think that this is going to have to go to an eviction and we need to serve a notice? And so it's been, I think, for our team also really rewarding to provide our customers that peace of mind that a mediator is a much better solution than having the person who has legally binding contract in place to have those conversations. And then, boy, I didn't realize also how many rental assistance programs are out there for tenants. And so, what was really cool when we launched it was to see how many church groups would step in, when and how the government would step in. And it varies by county, obviously. But all of that has been really helpful to say, hey, how can we get someone back on their feet? And that's the most important part. And then also, how do we help you just collect the money?
Mhm.
Because a lot of these church groups will do, hey, we'll pay 1 month of rent. That gives the tenant more time to figure out where they're going to move and have a really clear transition plan that, hey, we're going to have to do early termination on this. This is not going to be something where they're going to be able to afford it. And so that is one of the things that I personally love about the program. And I'm glad that you love it so much as well.
I think what's also good is it almost makes me not the bad guy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep.
so because Hemlane's communicating with them, I'm always telling the tenant also to like, hey, I'm Hemlane is reaching out to you because it's just part of the platform,
Yep.
and it kind of keeps my relationship with the tenant on a kind of a better playing field, I guess.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. It's pretty funny. We've had certain situations where even if it's something like, "Hey, I want a new washing machine," it's nice to have Hemling get involved to say, "You know what? At this moment, that's not going to be approved. The current one works completely fine. We can go ahead and readdress it in the future." But having someone else provide that, I think you're right, gives a little bit more of that barrier for you with some more difficult conversations that may come up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you must be, from a real estate investor perspective, one of the farthest away from your property. So, you're in Hawaii and they're in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Walk me through, you don't feel any need to go out and see the properties because it's been 4 years and you got on a flight from Hawaii to be here with me today in Las Vegas at the One Rental at a Time event. So walk me through then, what's the plan? Will you go out and visit the properties or do you feel completely comfortable remotely managing them?
I'm completely comfortable managing remotely, but a lot of the people that's been starting to invest in Pittsburgh that I've helped get started, they always want to keep going out there. So we'll probably plan a trip out there, go
Yeah.
check it out. But I think a lot of it just comes back to kind of my personality and even the field I'm in the fire department. A lot of times, we kind of just arrive on scene and we got to just figure things out. So for me, even though we go to training and whatnot, a lot of times the scenario is
Yeah.
not the same, right? So, but
Yeah.
you got to just kind of figure things out, not make things any worse. But definitely, having software like Hemlane or even just traditional property management, but just having some sort of boots on the ground and connection
Hmm.
and ties there. But Hemlane makes it super convenient because you get a good picture of what you're dealing with as far as the communication. It follows up on rent, like we said, eviction shield. But you have so many different options too. There's different tiers to Hemlane. So I've been on multiple tiers too. So even I've used a full service where you can have maintenance coordination through there.
Yep.
You can also drop down. So there is different options, and it depends. Like I know Dion talks about if he's traveling, he's going to switch to a different tier, and
Yeah.
that's also kind of my vision too. At some point, I may use that again as far as using the maintenance coordination side of it. But yeah, as far as actually stepping foot there, I really don't feel for myself
The
there's a
need
need. Yeah.
to. Yeah, it was interesting. Some of my own rental properties that I hadn't ever seen in person, I went out to them and was like, oh, it's not that much different than what I thought. And to your point, the biggest thing to me was photos. When you see the photos or a video, even if you're not there, you almost feel like you're there. And so that part and that aspect of it definitely helped. And, we have inspections. We're continuing to double down more on more inspections and offerings for that. I want to take and transition over here to One Rental at a Time community. I want to talk about what this community has meant for you. And then also just how did you hear about it?
Man, it must have started early when I started looking into real estate or multiple streams of income. I think we always hear about real estate as being that kind of tangible asset, and it always goes up in value. So, when the kind of world shut down, everyone was watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts. And yeah, I think I Zuber's channel just came across. I think he might have had the purple hair at the time. I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I remember
yeah. So
that.
I kind of say, hey, who's this crazy guy with purple hair? And I started listening, but you listen to him, and he's very down to earth, and he speaks the truth, and he's not trying to push all this fluff and that you're gonna do it in 1 year and you're gonna make all this money. He basically tells you it's 5 years of suck. It's gonna take 10 years,
Yeah.
and it really related to me, and I kind of went down that path and just yeah, this community has been amazing. As like last year, he had that 50K subscriber event, and it was going to just be a one-time event, and people showed up, and it was just this big family event, seemed like.
Yeah.
And yeah, he decided to do it again, and I'm really trying to kind of follow his blueprint also of building a social media presence, a YouTube channel. And so my channel, it's kind of the same where I'm trying to bring regular guests on
Yeah.
weekly, kind of how he built his,
Yeah.
and just kind of building a family community. And yeah, he's been a super big inspiration. And like, meeting Dion, Millennial Mike, Lumberjack, and all these people. And it's like, I feel like I could just reach out to anyone if I ever need advice or help on something. And it's weird. I know I talk about it quite a bit, but like, the firehouse was my family before, and they still are. It's a big camaraderie thing. But I really feel like my focus has kind of shifted towards
Yeah.
just real estate and building my own community, part of this community. But yeah, I think if anyone wants to be a part of something that's not pushing you to get 100 doors or kind of get this big portfolio, but just like we said, just this one rental at a time, or just reaching that four, right? And that four can be life changing.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing is that you don't need 100 rental properties to have passive income and a great lifestyle. I want to go and talk about the firehouse. So with the firehouse and your colleagues there, I can call them colleagues, right? Firefighters.
Yeah, they may not call me that anymore, but yeah.
What do they think of you in real estate investing? And do any of them get curious, or do you think a lot of them do not understand it?
Yeah, it's a tough sell in the firehouse. We still have a great retirement. But I mean, even they see it. The retirement keeps changing. You know, they keep reducing benefits and
Hmm.
whatnot, or you have to work longer. So I'm trying to push the younger guys to realize that there's other options out there. But it is hard. You know, there's a lot of overtime available and things like that. So you can make a lot of money still working. It's
Yeah.
just you know, I'm hoping that they realize that there is, you know, you can have a great 25-year or 10-year career and retire early, right? And you still did a lot of good service being in the firehouse, but you don't have to do the full career anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to push that quite a bit. But it is hard because a lot of the guys that are senior or you know, captains and whatnot, they've all done that whole pension route, right? So
Yeah.
the younger guys see what they've done and say, "Oh, that's the blueprint to retire." So it is hard, but every once in a while, there's a few that reach out and kind of they're intrigued by what I'm doing. So I know my message is getting out there.
Great. And remind me, what is your community called that you are building today? And second question on it will be, what is your goal in the next 2 years with it?
Well, so my channel is Financial Firefighter. I am kind of torn if I should change it because I guess when I retire from the firehouse, I don't know if like you know I don't want that to be I guess what I'm known for in a sense. So I'm still on the fence of that, but that's my channel right now, Financial Firefighter. My goal was to get it to 1,000 subscribers by this event, which I haven't done, so I fell short on that. But I am glad at the progress I've made, and I feel like I'm building my own little community, and I have a lot of regular people that do come on my channel. But you know, there's no real like monetization or financial goal from this. It's more I feel like I'm having fun doing it and I love the people that I'm connecting with and meeting. So like
Yeah.
I come here and I see all these people that's been on my channel or I haven't officially met in person yet. So I love that aspect of it. But I feel like you know Zuber's talking about too like a legacy in a sense that he's trying to so when he you know when he's done
Yeah.
this channel will still be there and I kind of see it the same way. I'm just kind of build this community of people that hopefully we all reach that financial freedom at the same point, so where we can hang out and travel at the same time. And, you know, it's probably
Yeah.
going to be boring, right? If you reach financial freedom by yourself, right? Who are you going to hang out with, right? So I kind of see it that way. Is this little community I'm building that maybe when we all reach that goal together, then we can all hang out and travel together.
Yeah, we'll have to think of another alliteration because financial firefighter is very nice and rolls off the tongue, but financial Hawaii man doesn't as much roll
Yes,
off the
yeah,
tongue.
yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll have a vote on that. Have a poll or something.
Perfect. Well, Mark, thanks so much for joining me today. I had so much fun talking to you and just learning more about your journey, as well as what the One Rental at a Time community has meant to you, and now with you building your own community.
Thanks for having me.